Hello everybody, and welcome to the GKaiser Age. This is Lucian GKaiser, and today we are going to be going through a review of the brand new metal build ARX-7 Arbalest from Bandai Tamashii Nations from the series Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory. This is a new version of the Arbalest that was just released in the Metal Build series, just to coincide with the release of the new Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory season. So let's go ahead and get into the FigMechanics, or as I like to call it, FigMechanics and GKaiser Age. Alright, so let's get started on this GKaiser Age FigMechanics review. So this is the ARX-7 Arbalest. This was first premiered in the first season of Full Metal Panic during the episodes I'm Still Alive and Boy Meets Girl. It first showed up in I'm Still Alive when it was dropped off to Sosuke Sagara, the pilot, and he boarded the craft to take down the enemy that was assaulting him and Kaname Chidori. If you want to learn more, definitely recommend watching the show. It's available on Funimation, Crunchyroll, and several other, streaming sites, so definitely check it out. But let's go ahead and get into the actual figure itself. So this is a very hefty build. The Metal Build series uses a lot of die cast, especially in the joints, and a lot of the actual base figure itself. And it is very well detailed. They put a lot of decals and printing on the actual figure itself. So you can see a lot of lettering, markings, and everything detailed just all over it, and I really love that. Some of the pieces have a nice metallic inlay on them to give them a very nice shine. And as you can see, there are a lot of posability when it comes to this figure, and we'll go ahead and show that off. So we'll start with the head here. The head can move up and down. It can move side to side. Now, because of the head design and the shoulders, it's really hard to get it to really do a side to side too far. And you want to be careful because obviously you don't want to chip the paint on the figure, because it is very nicely painted with a nice matte finish on the paint. And of course the cockpit opens up, and I really love this because the chest actually slides forward when you're opening up the cockpit. So that way you can get a little bit of extra space there. And you can see the unpainted Sosuke Sagara figure in there. It's a little disappointing that it's not painted, but I don't really mind too much because I'm not really going to be staring at it all day or anything. But I just love that they managed to replicate that so well. So let's go ahead and close that back up. Locks into place nice and neat. Alright, and then we're going to move on to the shoulders here. So we've got full arm. And as you can see, the shoulders, since they're replaceable, they are a little bit touchy when it comes to the shoulder pads. There we go. So you can see full 360 there. And the shoulder can move out a little bit. So you got a little bit of an extension. And you can push it back in or out to give yourself a little bit more freedom. And then of course we've got double bend at the elbow. Swivel there. No swivel at the bottom elbow for the forearm. Kind of disappointing there, but not too bad. Still gives you a lot of great posability. The hand is on a specialized joint. Let me get in there so you can see it. So it allows a lot of nice pivot. And of course you can rotate so you can get more of a side to side with the hand. So very nice on that particular joint. The waist is very well designed. So you have this centerpiece right here that's slightly flexible. You can bend for a nice ab crunch, pretty decent one. And then you can bend back for a nice flex. So you can see that there. Move the arm out of the way. You got that nice deep crunch, which lets it get some really great poses. And then when it comes to the legs, As you can see, it's got a nice joint system. Bandai decided to incorporate a sliding mechanism for the hip joints, so you can slide them down to give the legs more clearance for a nice frontal kick that far. The back plates here can move back like that, so you can get a nice flex backwards that far. So it gives you a lot of nice clearance. You still want to be careful though, because you can get some paint rubbing if you're not careful while posing it. And then of course we got the leg. Now the lower leg and knee joint is very well designed, and this matches in the show, because in the show they use a combination of joints that are like those of a cat, along with a frame that is like that of insects. So that way the Armslaves, especially the M9 series, which the Arbalest ARX-7 is based off of, get a nice range of movement with that double jointed knee there. And then of course the foot is really well designed as well. I really like all the extra detail that they really put in there. But of course it has a nice side-to-side pivot, so you can really get some good angles with that. Forward and back, and a toe bend that is incredible. So all in all, with that kind of flexibility, you can easily pose the ARX in any kind of combat style posing that you desire. So here we go, one with what looks like he's about to take off and leaping through the air, which the ARX-7 is known for leaping quite far and fast, especially with its special options, the Lambda driver activated. Alright, so as you can see, some really great posability on this figure. Now let's talk about some of the options that are built directly into the figure itself, and we'll start with what I talked about earlier, which is the actual Lambda driver. That is a system that is built into the ARX-7 that allows the pilot to use their will to generate an actual kinetic force in different ways. So if you wanted to do like a super powerful punch, you would just focus on that. If you want to do a super powerful punch, and the ARX will actually generate a field using the Lambda driver that will create a powerful punch attack. You can also use it to propel the ARX-7 at incredible speeds and maneuverability, as we've seen Sosuke do. So the figure comes with additional shoulders. Now the current shoulders that are on there, you can open up to reveal part of the Lambda driver system, just as a gimmick. But the real winners, Bandai gives you these guys. Replacement shoulders that have the full Lambda driver system extended on them, which is really nice, and I appreciate that, because that means it's less wear and tear on actually transforming the figure. You just simply plop that shoulder right on there, and then do the same thing for the other shoulder. And there we go, we got the first part of the Lambda driver with his shoulders. Now the next part is going to be on the back of the figure. This part's a little bit more tricky to manage, so we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. So let us go ahead. So as you can see, these parts right here extend out and open up. Oop, just don't do it too far. And then you have these special plates that you can stick in there to replicate the Lambda driver activation. They're really cool looking. And locks in there. And there you go. And then you have the opened Lambda driver. So now Sosuke can go and punch some Armslaves, or use it with the combination of his boxer shot cannon that we'll be looking at in a little bit here, and basically accelerate the cannon shots to insane speeds and of course kinetic energy, so that way it just tears through Armslaves. I absolutely love the look of this figure though. They really just nailed everything so perfectly with it. The posability, the detail, just everything is amazing. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other options that are built into it. We're gonna go ahead and take off the Lambda driver parts here. And I'll skip ahead past that since we know how they go on. Alright, so now that we are back to the standard form, let's go ahead and take a look at the next really cool gimmick that they built in, the ECS system, or the Electronic Conceal System as they call it. And this basically is an array of emitters that emit a special spectrum of concentrated energy that basically conceals the Armslave in an invisibility field. So on the arms, those emitters pull out. For the ones from Mithril, this is a very advanced system that can actually not only hide the unit from electronic detection, but also prevents it from being detected, of course, by radar and things like that. So we're gonna go to the shoulders real quick. So the shoulder pops up and the ECS pops out of the shoulder with the emitter there. And do the same thing on the other shoulder. Pull up this part here. There we go. We got those emitters there. And then on the legs, we have emitters hidden here on the knees. And then on the front skirt area, the crotch, there's an emitter there as well. Pull that out. This one's a little bit trickier. There we go. So you can see that one deployed. And then on the side skirts, emitters there. And then for the back, we have emitters on the back of the legs. I'm absolutely in love with the fact that they added this in on this figure without having to swap any parts or anything. And then for this part, on the back, just use the tool that they provide. pull it out a little bit. And there we go. And that's all of the ECS emitters deployed on the actual Armslave. And like I said, once those are deployed, the Armslave is pretty much invisible. Now, there are some downsides to it. One, it uses so much energy from the Armslave's reactor that it cannot engage in high speed or high mobility combat, because to do so would overtask the generator and possibly cause it to explode, which would be a bad thing for the pilot. And then the other thing is it is able to be detected by more advanced counter or ECS counter systems that we've seen in the, of course, season of Full Metal Panic, the second raid. And then the final thing is birds and certain other animals that use electromagnetic guidance and everything tend to get attracted to the actual field generated by the ECS. So if you're sitting in a dense jungle area or anything with a lot of birds, or just any area with a lot of birds around, they will eventually start to flock and sit upon your invisible mech, making it a lot less invisible to visual scanning. Because I'm pretty sure anybody with half a brain cell that sees a bunch of birds sitting on something that doesn't seem to be there can put 2 to 2 together. And of course, at close ranges, and of course when it's moving, the ECS camouflage does have a visible oscillation that you can kind of see. So at closer ranges, it's pretty much pointless to have it on unless you're standing perfectly still. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get into the really fun part, the weapons, and where some of the weapon storage is on the actual figure itself. So let's go ahead and close up the ECS ports, since obviously we can't go into combat with those still active. Close those all up. Close up the ones on the arms real quick. Alright, so the first thing we're going to show off, which is really cool, they did not have to add this, but I still love that they did, is underneath the side of the chest, there's a storage for a combat knife, or as they call it in the actual show, this is one of the Royal Ordnance M110-08 anti-tank daggers. Now, these daggers basically are used as throwing weapons. The Armslave will use its incredible physical strength to throw the dagger at incredibly high speeds, and a dagger will penetrate the target's armor and then explode upon that impact. And then on the other side for storage, they have the anti-Armslave or anti-armor grenade, just like you see in the show, and that is removable. Now the knife that's actually stowed in here, it's just the handle. It doesn't actually have a blade attached to it. That's a little disappointing, but not too much considering what they throw in the box for weapons to go along with this guy. So let's go ahead and get started taking a look at those. And of course the optional hands that come with the figure to hold them. And we're going to start with, of course, like I said, that dagger. So here is one of the anti-tank daggers here. Alright, and then one of the other daggers that you can install on it that was seen in the actual show at the beginning of the first episode with the Arbalest is this guy right here. Here we go. Alright, so this one is actually stalled on the head here. So what you do is pull the front piece off, install this guy right here so he can hold an extra dagger in his mouth like some crazy man. Very cool though. I'm glad they included that because that was prominent in the first episode that the Arbalest shows up in. It starts fighting in. Alright, and now let's go on to the next melee weapon. And that is the Geotron Electronics Gra 2 Monomolecular Cutter. Basically a bigger combat knife. This is anti-armor, of course. Now the monomolecular edge is basically a super strong, super razor sharp filament that is super heated. So that way it can cut through enemy armor easily and destroy it. And that can of course be stowed in several positions on the unit. It can be stowed on the side skirts here with the little tab. So you can stow it that way, or there's an option part where you can pull off this part here at the back and actually install it on the back of the unit itself. Close this down and boom, you have a knife at the back. And of course with the flexibility of the arms, you can easily pose it like he's about to grab it. So that is very cool. Alright, the other thing that it does come with, I know this is pretty cool as well, are actual grenades that are bigger versions of the one that's actually stowed on the unit. So you can put these in the hands and it can hold that. And now the big boy. And this one's the one that I love the most of all the weapons that you get with it. And this is the, of course, 57mm scatter shot Odo Malaria Boxer Cannon. And of course it comes with an extending stock. The pump action actually pumps on it. And the cool thing is, it comes with 2 of these ammo clips. And they install right here. Now here's the cool thing too. Not only do the ammo clips have pegs that you can peg them on the side of the unit, but they also have these attachment parts to where you can attach and double magazine it. And you can do it that way, or because it has the peg and the peg hole, you can do it that way as well. So when one magazine is expended, you would just flop it around and go with the other magazine it has. And I really love that they did that. There's no reason that they had to do that, because it's never really shown, at least as far as I know. From watching Full Metal Panic, it's never really shown in the show that he does have the clips like that. So it's kind of cool that they did that on this. And of course it can be stowed on the back. Of course, close that up. And it's just a fantastic figure overall, as you get all these options. Once again, like I said, the posability on this figure is fantastic and absolutely a delight and enjoyable. So I'm going to show off some different poses of it in some pictures because it would just take too long. But definitely I recommend, if you can get your hands on it, definitely grab this figure when you can. Now one of the other things too that I want to show off before we show off some of the different posing and everything, just an example, is this feature here. So on the arm, you can raise up this part, and then it comes with 2 of these wire grapples, and you can install that right in the arm opening just by pushing it in. The hand a little. And this is made out of an actually flexible wire. And you just push it in. Just like that. And this is basically the wire gun. that the Arbalest can use for grabbing enemies and such, if need be, or for grappling, of course. But they included 2 of these, one for each arm, which is very appreciated. Thank you again, Bandai. You're doing fantastic work with these metal builds. Alright. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the different poses. And then the final thing we're going to take a look at is, of course, the display stand, because it is pretty much one of the most fantastic display stands that you will ever get for any kind of figure. So let's go ahead and take a look at some different poses and get some good looks at it, and then we're going to move on to that display stand. Alright, so to start off with talking about the display stand is fantastic. It has a very unique design. On the base plate of the display stand, there are several ports that are marked by actual caution signs, which is very cool. And it's got this really unique flight deck, maintenance area look to it. And I really appreciate all the detail that Bandai put into this, because it just makes it feel more like just your normal generic stand that you would have a display figure on. Now, it comes with multiple parts that are a basic framework to where you can literally store every piece of equipment, optional swap out parts, and everything onto the actual display base. This is just fantastic because it really makes for an impressive display when you don't want to have all your parts just sitting in bags or anything like that. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole process of converting over because it takes a while just to convert it into the different setups, but I'm going to show you my favorite setups here in just a moment. But you can see here from the instruction book, you can literally just put all of this all together as, one large display, and I really appreciate the effort that Bandai put into this. The display stand also comes with a pose arm, so that way you can put that on there to hold the Arbalest up in special poses, like if it's running or if it's in mid leap or something like that, or just to hold it up in general, because it is a pretty heavyweight figure and can tend to fall over if the weight distribution or the shelf shakes or anything like that gets knocked out of alignment. So definitely recommend using that when you're not actually actively doing anything with the figure. But I really love this display stand. It also comes with, of course, an unpainted maintenance guy, and of course unpainted Sosuke Sagara in his school uniform. I would have preferred one in his flight suit, but beggars can't be choosers, so we've got what we've got. And then of course it's cool because it comes with this little cart that actually has the ammo for the of course 12.7 millimeter chain guns that are in the head of the Arbalest, so you can make it look like it's undergoing maintenance. And it comes with a part that you can swap out on the head that shows the chain gun exposed, and you can connect the two together so that it looks like it's being loaded with chain gun ammo. I just think that was awesome. It's just a great little addition that you get this little mini platform that can be positioned pretty much anywhere on the figure, so you can even use it as with the without the ammo container on it to make it look like they're doing maintenance on the figure. So all in all, Bandai just went above and beyond for this metal build, and of course for the actual just display stand and everything that it comes with. This is just a phenomenal figure. It was well worth the wait and the money. So I do have to let you know this is a pretty pricey figure. To get all of this and everything, you're going to be looking at a pretty decent price. Now, I got mine on the Big Bad Toy Store. They are a fantastic website. I'm not sponsored by them yet. I hope to be sponsored by them at some point, but they are fantastic. They got it to me very fast once it was released. And of course, it was a total of $224.99. It is still currently, as of me recording and posting this video, available on their website. But I do recommend, if you want to grab one, you better grab one quick, because once these metal builds are gone, that is pretty much it for them, unless they do a reissue of it for some reason. Definitely pick it up from their website. It's great shipping, great stock. They also have the next upcoming metal builds as well listed on there. I already had pre-ordered and have received my metal build Lavatane from Full Metal Panic, and I'll be doing a review of that one next weekend, so expect to see that in the next week or so. But there's also an M9 Gernsback that was just announced, and man, if you thought this figure or the Lavatane came with a lot of accessories, the M9 comes with even more. Now, it's really expensive. It is like $400 with an $80 deposit on Big Bad Toy Store, but you know what? It's not coming out until December, possibly January. That gives me plenty of time to save up for it, because it's going to be well worth it. It comes with literally every weapon you can name under the sun that was seen or wasn't even seen in the actual show. So if you can get your hands on it, I definitely recommend pre-ordering it on, of course, you know, the Big Bad Toy Store. The Lavatane is back into pre-order status, so I'm guessing they're expecting to get some more of that shipped into them soon. So if you want to pre-order that, I definitely recommend pre-ordering the Lavatane as well, because it is fantastic. I can't wait to review that one for you. But again, this is Lucien GKaiser from the GKaiser Age. If you like what you see here, definitely like, favorite, subscribe, and of course go ahead and leave some comments on what you think about this figure, what you think about the metal build series from Bandai. Once again, check out Big Bad Toy Store if you want to pick up this figure. Also check out my Facebook page, and also check out my Twitter, because I'll be announcing when videos are going to be up or when ones I'm working on, because I do a lot of videos about anime, gaming, entertainment media. So definitely check out us here in the GKaiser Age. Once again, this is Lucien GKaiser signing out until the next invisible victory.